Well, no matter what you think about the Fear Street trilogy, they sure love the history of the horror genre in those things, don't they? And they are a unique moment in the history of the horror genre. You know what else loves the history of the horror genre? Jay's Horror Almanac 1970 to 2020. That's right, this bad boy is packed with 50 years worth of horror movies. They've got information, they've got trivia, they've got release dates, so much trivia. Oh my god, there's a lot of trivia in here. Holy crap. Did you know that they brought in priests into cinemas in the Philippines to bless people before they watched The Conjuring? Did you know that they didn't call Freddy Krueger until Nightmare on Elm Street 3? What? Did you know that Scream 4 was released 15 years to the day after the original one was released in cinemas? God damn, this bad boy's packed with stuff, and you can get it all from StockroomDeals.com. That's right, StockroomDeals.com. This video is sponsored. That's right. Wow, we got a sponsor for it. StockroomDeals.com. You can get this all from that. You can get it all from Amazon as well. Check it out. Check out the links in the description below. StockroomDeals.com and Amazon. You can buy this and so much other horror movie paraphernalia. There is so much on there. It's great. There's so much cool stuff. I got this Predator book from them. I got this mug from... Half of the stuff in my background at this point is just from these websites. It is great stuff. I love the horror genre, and so do they. So check out Jay's Horror Almanac at StockroomDeals.com or Amazon.com. There are a few things in this world like a well-built movie trilogy, whether it takes 3 decades or 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Yep, no, I said 3 weeks. And I don't have to give props to Netflix, guys. We know this. Their average original movie is dog shit, if we're mincing our words. But this idea, a trilogy of horror films released back-to-back-to-back weeks, which, by the way, you couldn't have done before Netflix. That wouldn't have worked in cinemas. It was an intriguing idea. It was a unique idea. It was confusing. Why the hell, as we go further along, are we moving backwards in time? I don't know. But I finally got the chance to sit down and watch them all back-to-back-to-back. Not for the last time, I assure you. So here's my ranking for the Fear Street trilogy.
How do we not die? I'm looking at you, witch nerd.
You can't stop it.
Fear Street Part 1, 1994, is set in Shadyside, and it's about a girl, her younger brother, who I really hope isn't that much younger than them, her drug-dealing best friend, who gets with her brother, and therefore I'm really hoping he's not that much younger than them, and her ex-girlfriend, who recently moved to the posh part of town, Sunnyvale, and they go on an adventure after yet another Shadysider goes cray-cray, goes on a murder spree, and then is killed, but comes back a few days later and starts chasing them, along with all of the other killers from the town's storied bloody past. What? Yeah, from every reference to every horror movie, I mean, the whole opening scene is one just big, giant scream debate that made me think the whole film's going to be a scream rip. Every moment that it feels like it's about to delve into parody or at least outright horror comedy, and yet manages to kind of instead tread the line similarly to like Get Out, in that it doesn't feel the need to have every moment be suspenseful, but when that kind of ups the moments that are suspenseful, makes them feel more important. And every time that you feel like you finally know what's going on, but you never do in this film, I assure you. Not in this one, no. And you have the rug just faithfully pulled out from under you yet again, just thinking, oh, wait, no idea what's happening. It's intriguing. It is very good. As much as this one, it tries to keep its cards close to its chest, the whole film doesn't really reveal what's really going on at all in this one. It's setting up the other ones better than it's doing a job of being itself. It is more interested in being a thriller than a horror, for sure. It's not... I don't think this is a horror film. I don't think any of them are really horror films, but this one definitely not. I think the whole thing, it feels... As much as these are rated R, it feels like the Stranger Things of the slasher genre. And it is good. It is a very good film. Don't get me wrong. It's a very enjoyable time. It sets up the other ones well. Fun characters. It's got good comedic moments. Good suspenseful moments. But it does feel like there's something unique and slightly amiss here in becoming a slasher modern version of something like Scream. It feels like it's missing something in hitting the stride that would allow it to be that legendary. But still, I'm giving Magical Murder Mystery Terror 74 out of 100.
Go! We can end this.
You swore. It's becoming a habit.
I'll survive. I will survive.
Fear Street Part 2, 1978 is a continuation and a prequel all in one. Like The Godfather Part 2, except nothing like that. So, Dina and Josh, having survived the first time out, are sitting down with an old lady for a fun storytime adventure. Except she's really not that old a lady, because 1978 really isn't that much earlier than 1994. She's played by Gillian Jacobs, because I guess Netflix are just using a lot of actors they have under contract from other projects in this one. You'll see it pop up. So, in 1978, her and her sister attended Camp Nightwing in the town. Camp Nightwing. Oh. And one of them is played by Sadie Sink from Stranger Things. Yep, there it is. But we don't know which one is which. We know that one survives to tell the story, but we have no idea which one's which. Fun mystery times. And one of them, the older sister, she goes off with her boyfriend on a fun little adventure in some caves near the camp, and he gets cursed by the witch and turned into Jason Voorhees. I mean, a serial killer at a summer camp with a mask on. Could be anybody. Yeah, he's doing that, and the other sister's trying to get with an older boy named Good, because every white guy in these films is named Good, and basically the killer just goes on a rampage. It's got a lot of Friday the 13th about it, this one, but that's one of my very favourite types of horror films, so it kind of works very well for me. It's got a banging soundtrack. This one doesn't feel like it has to work so hard to fit in all of the pop culture references from the 70s as the 90s one did. But it does. It emanates that style so well. And it is still, the films are generally Stranger Things-y, but R-rated versions of these kinds of slashers. And this one, it's more brutal than the first, I think, and it's closer to being horror-y, but still it is more thriller than anything else. It's a good time, though. Sadie Sink is a great lead. She's really shining out of the shadow of Millie Bobby Brown and all the Stranger Things cast members. She's really great, and the whole thing, banging soundtrack, great time, good slasher, very good slasher. Still not all-time classic slasher film, but it's getting closer than the first one did for me. So I'm giving Friday the 13th 77 out of 100.
Forever.
And last most brutal is Fear Street Part 3, 1666. No, before you ask, there are no famous horror films that came out in 1666. I checked. But it is interesting to see that the iconic tongue-in-cheek style of the slashers in the 90s, that's what the first one had. The second one had the original slasher format, the summer camp format, the iconic summer horror movie style of the 70s and 80s. This one, there aren't as many well-known period piece horror films, so this one was really just based on the idea of how sickening is the Salem witch trials. Can we make it that sickening in film format? And it was terrifying to do. This time Dana is being sent back in time to view what actually happened to Sarah Fear, because just like Maleficent and Cruella, this is just taking that witch that's been terrorizing the town for centuries and making her the good guy. It's fun. Unfortunately, she is, like Dina is in the present, also a lesbian, but that's not okay in 1666, and her girlfriend is played by the same actor who plays Dina's girlfriend in 1994, so it's just pretty confusing. But because they get caught being lesbians, they're going to be executed as witches, because that's how things work like that. And, it's got a nice twist at the end. The whole message of the whole trilogy in the end is fuck the police, which is great. It brings it back to modern day, and I'd say the whole thing feels like a really satisfying final season to a great TV show, as opposed to being an installment in a movie trilogy. Because it is allowed to be, because of the week-to-week-to-week release format, more cohesive as a film trilogy, more based on you just having watched the last one than any other film trilogy ever would take for granted that you have just done. And it is very good. It is the most brutal entry for sure. It's terrifying. It's still not. I don't think it is still a horror film. It is definitely the closest that they've come. I think it is maybe the best entry in the franchise, if only because it finally lets out all of the secrets that the other two were trying to keep in, and they didn't really reveal all that much. This one, it just, boom, vomits it all out at you, and it's very impressive to see how it all comes together. But that almost makes me think, is the second one the best film? This one's just, it's got the finale stuff, which allows it as an entry to feel like a bigger, better thing, when in fact the second one might be a better film? I'm not sure, honestly. I love the style of the second one so much. This one, it does, between that first excellent period piece bit and jumping back, and that kind of jumpiness doesn't maybe help it overall, but it is the closest, I think, to being an outright horror classic. And I'm giving A Nightmare on Fear Street 79 out of 100. Oh, it's so nice how it wrapped up there. So great at that wrapping up. Wouldn't want any more. Wouldn't need any more of this. No. I'm sure it's fine the way it is. What was that tease at the end? Fuck. There'll definitely be more, but I mean, this is very interesting. If they do the format again, I'm kind of on board, honestly. I'll take it. Don't need it, but I'll take it. Subscribe.